Hi guys, welcome back to another video and welcome back to my makeup diaries, where I'm going to share with you 7 different looks that I've worn in the past 7 days and tell you a little bit about what kind of products I'm using. Hi guys, so here's another daily makeup look, and today I've actually reacted to a movie, so I will link that reaction in the little card over here so that you can see. But for today's look, I mainly focused on the Adventure Time palette from Little because I wanted to use it again. I haven't really used it a lot in the past couple of weeks. I've only filmed my review with it, but I haven't used it since, I think. In my brows, I have the shade New Leaf from the Merry Christmas palette as usual, and I've mixed it with this Sorbety palette and the shade Niepozorny, this one, to make it a little bit more the brow shade. I have this Super Lock Brow Gel from Maybelline. Then I used my Spectra paints, this white one from Glisten as a eyeshadow base. And then I'm using the Adventure Time palette, and I started with the yellow shade, which is this Banana Guard. Then I'm slowly transitioning it into the shade Science. And then in the outer part of the crease, I have the shade Soft Light from the Christmas Eve palette. I have it depotted over here. Then as shimmers, I've used my Shine On primer from Cleonat, and I have the shade Gumdrop, this one, all throughout the crease. And then in the inner corner, I'm using the shade Candy Cane Guy, and I have my Summer BYOP, and I'm using the shade Angel. This one kind of has a topper on top of everything. Then I'm using this Glisten and Lens liner palette, and I did this liner design, as you can see. So in the inner part, I have the shade Link, and in the outer part, I have the shade Heart, this red part of the heart shade. And then for these little stars, I'm using the shade Maximum Slay, this one. And I've added a couple of rhinestones from Colourpop. I have this Revolution Fast Base blush in the shade Peachy, or Peach, sorry, on my cheeks. And then this Wings and Colourpop highlighter sticks in the shade Darcy. That's my highlighter. I'm using the Superstay concealer from Maybelline in the shade 10 on my face. Then this Infallible 24-hour foundation from Laura. This is the foundation in a powder, and I have mine in the shade 4D Cashmere. It's a full coverage, fresh matte finish, waterproof foundation. I don't think it's like full coverage. Like if you would use something underneath it, then yeah, it would be full coverage. But if you're just using it as like a powder foundation on its own, I don't think it's full coverage. I don't use the sponge with it though. I use a brush because the sponge, I don't know, it feels like I have to apply it for 11 hours and it doesn't really create a nice effect. But when I use brush, it's a beautiful skin-like finish and it actually feels amazing on the skin. And I have this Salmona gel liner in the shade 07 in my waterline. And I think I'm out of this one because I can't really screw it out a bit more. So yeah, then I have this Panorama mascara from L'Oreal and the Oden's Eye and Angelica Nico's Halloween bundle lipstick. And this one is the matte one in the shade Swamp Fog, which is my Project Pan lipstick. And oh, and underneath my brows here, the little sparkle, I have the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette, and I've used the shade Pluto, this one. So yeah, that's it for this look. I think it's a very cute look. I'm very happy about it, and I'm very happy that it kind of ties it like makes sense with the reaction or like with the movie that I've been reacting to. So yeah, that's everything for today, and see you in tomorrow's video. Hi guys, so here's another look. This time I'm working with the Adventure Time palette. So for my brows, I mixed the shade Just Now, which is the potted shade from the Christmas Eve palette by Udens Eye that I'm currently working on. Then I have the ZC Colorful Animal palette, and I'm mixing it with this orange to make it slightly more neutral, but still kind of, I mean, now it's a little bit more brown, I guess. Sometimes I make this a little bit more green. That really depends on how I mix these. And I'm using the Super Lock Brow Gel from Maybelline. Then I have my Megalast eyeshadow primer. So on my eyes, I have the Blueberry Cups in the crease. Then I soften it up and kind of use it in the inner half of the crease with the Cotton Candy Forest. I have Peppermint Butler in the outer part, Gumball Guardian on the lower lash line, and then the shimmers on my lid is Gumdrop in the second half and Lemon Grab in the the blue one is in the first half and the green one is in the second half. And for the inner corner highlight, I actually have the Lady Rainicorn highlighter from this collection. So this is how it looks like, and let me open it maybe. And this is the highlighter, so that's what's on my eyes. And here is a little bit of a close-up. I don't know how well you'll see, but hopefully you will. It's so sparkly, like these shades are just so sparkly. I love them. Oh, and for the eyeliner, I completely forgot to mention that. But I have the Linz and Glisten waterliner activated palette, and I have the Maximum Slay on my eyes. So that's for this eye look. Hi guys, so here's the second look with the Adventure Time palette, which I think is still kind of simple, easy, but also like very, very pretty. As you can see, so let me kind of walk you through every single step. So I started with my Wet n Wild Megalast eyeshadow primer, and then I went in with the Adventure Time palette, and I focused on the other 6 pan on the bottom. So I started with the shade Science, which is this vibrant orange, and blended it into the crease. Then I went in with the shade Jelly Horse in my outer part. It's this really vibrant deeper purple, and I blended that purple out in the top outer crease with the shade Royal Tart, which is very vibrant, kind of neon-y pink. Then I went in with the NYX glitter primer, and on my lids I have the shade Mr. Cupcake, which is in the second half. It's this deep kind of blue turquoise, and in the first half I have the shade Candy Cane Guy, which is this soft green with like a bluey purpley tint to it. It's kind of like a minty shade. And in my inner corner I actually have a matte inner corner, and I used the Banana Guard, which is a beautiful vibrant kind of neon-y yellow. It has that like a little bit of like green there, you know, like a highlighter or something like that. And for the rest of the face, so I have my Revolution Streamline Eyeliner Pencil in the shade Yellow. Then I have the Essence All Eyes on Me mascara. Then I have my Super Stay Concealer by Maybelline. It's the shade number 10. And the same blush as yesterday, so it's the shade Gingerbread from the Merry Christmas palette. It's like the deep potted shade. And then I have the Beauty by Mini Charms palette, and I use this kind of orangey shade, which is called Infinity. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade. So that's kind of all that I have on my eyes. Oh, and the liner. I always forget about the liner. I have the Glisten and Lint palette, and I'm using the shade MGMT. This vibrant purple. I think they're definitely not the same. Like I don't know what happened with this eye, but we're gonna ignore that. Sometimes that just happens. And yeah, let me show you one last look at this eyeshadow. And now let's get into the third look. Hi guys, so here's another daily look. And there's gonna be a lot of things that we're gonna talk about. So in my brows, I went with like a greeny-ish brow. So I started with this shade, which is called Just Now, and it's from the Christmas Eve palette by Uden's Eye. And I mixed that with a little bit of this ZC palette by, the ZC palette called Colorful Animal. And I have a little bit of this orange mixed with it to make it like slightly brownier, but still like have that green to it. But it's not like a full-on green. It's not the same as it is in the pan. So that's what I did. And for brows, I used the Super Lock Brow Glue. For Maybelline, I have the Wet n Wild Megalast Eyeshadow Primer. I'm using the Adventure Time palette by Little Cosmetics because I'm currently reviewing it. And I have Choco in the first half of the crease. Then I have Pop Gang, this one, in the outer half. Cinnamon Bun as a liner. Then I used the Shine On shimmer primer from Liana. I'm trying it for the first time and it felt really nice. And I have Candy Elemental in the first half of the lid, and then Ice Cream Guy, this one, in the second half, and Candy Castle in the inner corner. And then I also used my Glisten and Lint palette. This is the water activated liner palette, and I have this light green shade called Tooth, and then the shade Maximum Slay, this one, for these kind of like, I don't know, circles and lines. I have this Uden's Eye pencil. This is the Salmone gel liner in the shade 05. Essence All Eyes on Me mascara. The Super Stay concealer from Maybelline. This is the shade number 10. Then this Uden's Eye and Angelica Nyquist lipstick from the Halloween bundle, and this one is the matte one in the shade Swamp Fog. As a blush, I have the shade Gingerbread, which is the depotted shade from the Merry Christmas palette by Uden's Eye. And I'm mixing that with the ZC palette, and I'm using this pink shade to like make it a little bit more peachy. And then for my highlighter, I'm using the Mini Charms palette by Beauty Bay. And I mixed the shade Milky Way, which is this one, with this orangey one called Infinity. And it creates this beautiful kind of goldy orange highlighter. So that's the entire look, I believe. And here's a little close-up on the eyes, but I think it's just a very pretty look, and I'm very excited to play with this palette. So that's it for today. See you tomorrow. Hi guys, so here's another makeup look. Today I focused on the Candy Kingdom from Little Cosmetics. And let me walk you through all the products that I've used today. It's actually a little bit more products than usual. So I've started with brows are the shade Just Now, which is from the Christmas Eve palette by Uden's Eye that I've depotted here. And I've mixed that with a little bit of the ZC Colorful Animal with this orangey shade in there. Then, and I have the Super Lock Brow Glue from Maybelline. Then I have the Wet n Wild Megalast Eyeshadow Primer. And obviously I've used this beautiful palette. So in the inner part of the crease, I have the shade Timmy, this one. Then Right next to it, kind of in the outer part, I have Mother Gum, this one. On the lower lash line, I've used James 2. And in my inner corner, I kind of created like a cut crease with this Colourpop sticks in the shade Hey Boo. And I brought it a little bit into the inner corner, and then I set it with the shade Marshmallow Kids. And on my lid, I'm using the Cleo Nut Shine On Primer for shimmer shades. And I've used like butterscotch in the first half of the lid, and then this shade, which is called Neddy. Yeah, Neddy. This one in the outer part of the lid. So, don't know how well you'll see that, but it's gorgeous, gorgeous shade. And then I have this Udden's Eye Salmon Gel Liner in the shade 01 in my waterline. Mascara is the Panorama Volume Mascara from L'Oreal. Then I've actually used foundation today. So my primer is the Catrice Aqua Splash Grip Primer, which is very nice to use in the summer, even though today is kind of raining, but still, it just feels nice. And then I mixed two foundations. I wanted to use the Maybelline Super Stay foundation. I have it in the shade 10 Ivory. This one is too dark for me, even though I have the same shade as a concealer. So, but I've already ranted enough about the fact that the shades don't match. So I mixed that with the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the shade 010, which is my normal skin tone. Like, this is the only foundation in my entire collection that actually matches me, because all the other ones, even though they are described like super light, they're actually really dark. So I mixed them up together to get a shade that kind of looks normal. And for the first time, I'm using this NYX brush. This is the 04 brush. It's kind of like a stippling brush. Or like kabuki, I don't know how this is categorized, but it was actually really nice to apply with. And the foundation is kind of self-setting and kind of self-leveling, if that's the word, because there definitely were like a little streaks from the brush, but then it kind of set itself and now there's no streaks. So I'd say it worked. I would say that it worked perfectly. Then obviously I have the Maybelline Super Stay Concealer in the shade 10 Ivory, which this one is the right shade, just, you know. And then I have the Udden's Eye and Udden's Eye and Angelica Nyquist collab lipstick, and this one is the matte one in the shade Shadow Creature. It's this reddish one. And then, blush is the shade Gingerbread from the Merry Christmas palette by Udden's Eye. There's actually not that much left, and I mixed that again with the ZC palette. It's now my Project 20 Uses palette, and I've used this light pink to kind of make it a little bit more peachy and not so orange, because obviously we have a peachy pink look, so I didn't want like a super dark blush. And I still think I put a decent amount of blush, but that's fine. I set it all with the Revolution Matte Fix setting spray. It's the oil control setting spray. I don't really use it as a setting spray. I usually just use it to activate my water activated liners, but today I decided to also use it as a setting spray since I'm trying to finish it up this year. As a highlighter, I have the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette, and I've used the shade, I think this one is Supernova, and I mixed that with Aurora. But then I remembered that I wanted to use the Lady Rainicorn highlighter from the Adventure Time collection. It's this rainbowy one, so I actually topped that with this. And yeah, I think you can see, well, I can see the little rainbow stripes, so hopefully you can see as well. As an eyeliner, I've used the Glisten and Lens liner palette, like the water activated liner palette, and I'm using the shade Don't Think Just Do, this white one, for this liner. And what else? I wanted to mention something else that I did today. I can't remember what it is. The Sorbetti palette by Glam Shop. One of the shades is in my Pendos eyeshadows currently, And it's the shade Niepozorny, which is this very bony shade. And I use it to set my primer, even though I'm not really used to do that and I don't really like that practice, but I want to use it up. But today I used a powder sponge, you know, like these soft little puffs, the powder puffs. And I used this shade to set my face because I don't actually have any setting powder here. I only have currently one setting powder, and that's at my dorm. Because my other one that I had in my project pan is finished. Or actually part of it like fell to the ground, so you know, it was finished that way. But yeah, so I used this shade as a setting powder and it actually worked wonderfully. If I was someone who uses makeup a lot or like foundation a lot, I might actually use it up this way. And now there's a good dip, so that's just a little tip. You can use these bony shades as face powder. I know that that's probably not an original thought, but in case you never thought about that, I'm telling you, you can do that. You can do this. So that's it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so here's another daily look. I've actually worn something similar like 3 days ago, but I forgot to film my diary entry, and also I just wanted to recreate it again. So what I've used today, sorry, I think I bumped into this. What I've used today, I actually mixed a couple different palettes to create this very yellowy look. I actually created similar look for my like sunny makeup Get Ready With Me. So I will link it down below in case you want to see that. And I used my New Leaf shade. This is the deep powdered shade from Merry Christmas Pie by Uden's Eye. I have that in my brows, and I've mixed that with, where is it? Oh, here. With this Cinch Beauty Galactic Visitor palette and with the shade Soul to make it a little bit more like neutrally. So I have it, sorry, with the shade Hoodoos. With this one to make it a little bit more neutrally but still kind of green. And I have the Super Lock Brow Gel from Maybelline. I'm using the Wet n Wild Megalast Eyeshadow Primer. I have the Beauty Moon Cosmetics and Wilma Finger Dew palette. And I'm using the shade Kiki in the first half of the lid, this like very neon yellow. Then the DQA in the second half of the lid. I'm blending that orange with the shade Soul, so that is underneath my brows. Then I have sorry, I just got kind of confused. I have my I have this shade which is called Alright, and it's depotted also from the Merry Christmas palette. So I have that in the second half of the lid as the shimmer shade. And for shimmer primer, I've used the Shine On from Cleonut. Then the main shimmer that is all over my lid is the Space Dust from the Cinch Beauty Galactic Visitor. In my inner corner, I'm using my Summer BYOP. And I have this shade, which is called Style It, and it's from the All I Ever Wanted palette by Unearthly. And also in the center of the lid, I've used a little bit of this shade, which is called Unusual. And it's also from the All I Ever Wanted palette by Unearthly. Then I have my Maybelline Superstay Concealer in the shade 10. I have my Panorama Mascara from L'Oreal. Then I have this Revolution Streamline Eyeliner in the shade Yellow. On my lips, I have this matte lipstick from Oden's Eye in collaboration with Angelica Nikos. It's from their Halloween bundle, and it's called Swan Fog. It's one of my favorite lipsticks in my collection. And then I have the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette, and I'm mixing the shade Milky Way with the shade Supernova, which is the second one, for my face highlighter. So that's kind of all that I'm wearing today. And yeah, it's this very, very vibrant yellow look that I really love. I've been just... Oh, I forgot to tell you the eyeliner. I knew something's missing. So again, will my finger do? And I'm using the shade Seriously, this black. It's not the best black I have, but it's an okay black. Like it looks black. I just have a couple black eyeshadows in my collection that are a little bit more punchier, and it also took me quite a lot of coats or a lot of dipping into the palette to get this opacity. So yeah, you know, it's okay but not the best. And yeah, that's the entire look. So let me know what you think about this one, and now let's just jump right into the next one. Today I'm kind of mixing a couple of different shades. So for me, I started with this very like mid-tone lavender shade all through the crease, and then to make it less dark on my face, I used this shade, which is this like soft pinky purple, in the on top of it, kind of to blend it out and connect it with my natural color and kind of soften it up underneath the brows. Then I have this deeper berry shade. This one is like a raspberry color in the outer part and also on my lower lash line. I'm using this kind of grayish color as a liner, and then one of my favorite combinations with purple or with berries, because obviously for me, when I say purple, I mean more like shades like these, you know, like this kind of column. But I know a lot of people also find these to be purples. For me, these are more like reds, pinks. That's where I kind of associate, that's why I kind of like categorize these like berry shades. But if these are also purples for you, it doesn't really matter, because whether it's this or this, it's still beautiful to use with yellows, and it's literally one of my favorite combos for both of these options. Yellow is just such a, for me, yellow is very like universal shade that you can, or like color that you can use with everything, and it's always super beautiful. But especially with these like berries and purples. So I have this vibrant yellow in the inner corner and slightly on the lower lash line. And on my lids, I have this glittery shade from Colourpop, and this one is like a yellow orange with a little sparkles of like pinky purple. Maybe you can even see that. And then I have this kind of blue to the periwinkle multichrome or duochrome, and this one is from Terra Moons. It's called Star Sign. It's a stunning little shade, and I have that in the outer part. Let me kind of show you how I created this fun look. I actually filmed a tutorial for Instagram, and I don't know if it's already out or if it's gonna be later, because I'm kind of behind on Instagram, but I'm catching up quite well, so maybe it's actually gonna be similar, in a similar timeline. So first up, we're gonna start with brows, and this will be a little bit of a spoiler. So for brows, I've used the shade Just Now from, this is depotted from the Christmas Eve palette by Uden's Eye. So I have that in my brow. I mixed it with a little bit of the ZC Colorful Animal palette and with this orange shade over here, but just a little bit. I wanted to be mostly green because I knew I'm gonna do blue look, so I don't mind my brows looking more cooler and more greener, because obviously it just makes sense with this look. Then to make blending a little bit easier and to not get any like, well, I used my megalast primer from Wet n Wild, and then because it's my Pendos eyeshadows, and also to make sure that the lines will be sharp, I used my Glam Shop Sorbetty palette and the shade Nepozorny, which I use as a kind of like a lid setting shade. I just use it in these, like the part of the lid that, like the upper part of the lid, the crease kind of area. And it definitely, I think, helped with the lines being a little bit more sharper and a little bit easier to draw on. So this is the shade Nepozorny. I'm really using it every single day, and like, I'm really trying, guys. It's hard. Then I have another Pendos eyeshadows. I've combined a couple projects and couple products that I want to review soon in like my monthly haul. So I have the Summoner 2 from Odin's Eye, and I've used the shade Nebula. Still no pan, but yeah, I just had this idea like in the evening, well, at night actually, and it's just goes like this, then I kind of connected it here, and then I did another like bottom line and connected it to the top line. So it literally goes like this. That's the first shape. Then I did a little bit of the lining around my like lash line, and then I created a bottom line that goes like very straight. Like it doesn't really go down that I usually do, but it's very straight, which again is not a typical liner for me, even though I could try to do that more because I don't have much of a hood in this area, so it would definitely be easier to draw it this way. And then I just connected it to the around the lash line. Then the blue, the light blue that's kind of around, not in the inside of the lid, but like the liner look, but on the borders and like the perimeters is the shade Soft Cloud, also from this palette. So it's this light one. Then the shade that's inside, the matte shade that is inside the liner part is actually from the Wilma Finger 2 palette by Beauty Moon that I want to haul this year, this month, and it's the Ship at the Sea. It's beautiful sea foamy green. So that is what's inside to have like a base. Are there any more matte shades? No, that's everything for matte. Oh, I forgot to mention that I have the Super Lock brow glue on my brows. Then I have the Shine On Shimmer Primer from Cleonut, and I'm using the DD Signature Drops of Fantasy palette. And I'm using the shade Float in Magic. That's all that is on my lid in this area, so that's the shimmer there, and it's kind of like almost like a holochrome. It's beautiful. It's a very soft, sparkly formula. In my inner corner, I'm using the Middle Earth palette by Glamlight because I wanted to have like a light iridescent bluish shade. So I have Galadriel, this one. It's a beautiful shade. I need to use this palette more. I still haven't used a lot of the shades more than once, so I should use it a couple times. But it's green palette, and I'm overwhelmed with greens lately for my like Project 20 users, Pendos palettes, Pendos eyeshadows. I don't really want to see green at this point. Then what else I'm using? Oh yeah, I actually went in with the mini Charms by Baby because it's my project level up, so I want to use this each shade specific number of times. And I don't know where I have my, oh, I always lose this little plastic thingy with the shade names. So if I ever forget that, just, I have the shade Mystic, this deep one, which is kind of like a grayish purple to like minty green. And I have that on the top part, like for this liner that's like around my lashes. I just decided to outline it with that. It's a beautiful deep green, kind of like turquoisey shade that I'm really enjoying. Then I have the shade Ethereal, this purpley one, on the lower lash line, like here a little bit, and then here on the line a little bit. So it goes from the green to the purple. I just decided that that would be a really cute way to encase this. Then I have the Summoner Gel Liner in the shade 09. I might have used it yesterday as well. I have my Panorama mascara from L'Oreal, the Super Stay Concealer from Maybelline. This is the shade number 10. I have this beautiful lipstick from Menagerie. It's the liquid lipstick, velvet liquid lipstick, sorry, in the shade Luna. It's a beautiful shade. I love these dusty purples. Then, oh, I forgot. For my palette crush of the month, I'm still working on the Linds and Glisten liner pad. And today, since I have like a really linery look, I didn't want to like overdo it with another liners, but I have a little bit of liner over here, which you might be able to tell that it's a slightly different color. So I've used the shade Cringe, which looks really deep blue, but when I mix it with water, it actually becomes like this super deep turquoise. So I'm not completely sure what's wrong with this, or like not wrong. I love this shade, but you know, it looks different in the pan when it's dry. And then blush is the gingerbread shade, which is depotted from the Merry Christmas palette by Odin's Eye. I created a huge dip today because like it's getting really shallow. So you know. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I mixed that with the CC palette with this pink shade to lighten it up a bit because it's like really dark. And then I for a highlighter, I'm again using the Mini Charms palette because I'm trying to pan it, and I'm using the shade Supernova and mixing it with the shade Aurora, which the dip has definitely increased a lot this month. And that's my face highlighter because since the blush is a little bit more orangey, I wanted to cool it down with the highlighter to still make it, you know, a little bit more appropriate for this look. And yeah, that's the entire look. Let me kind of maybe show you a little bit more of a close-up on this. I always feel like I'm sticking my nose right into your throat or something whenever I film these close-ups. But yeah, these are so pretty. Like, I love blue eyeshadow. I really do. And I think this year, like, I've been slowly falling in love with blue eyeshadow over the years. I remember how scared I was to use it a couple of years back when I first, like, really got into it. But lately, I mean, it's such a pretty color. So, yeah. So that's for this look, and I think that's also it for this video. So let me know what you thought about these looks. Let me know if any of them inspired you or helped you in any way, and definitely vote down below which one was your favorite. I would love to know that, and what is something that you would maybe try to incorporate into your makeup looks. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. So bye.